right. Hello, Abraham. Thank you. I've been listening to you for 10 years. This is my first seminar. And just as a report card for Abraham and the law of attraction, I manifested an exact house a year before it even went on the market. I looked at it. I saw it. I thought, nope, that's out of my price range. But I used that as my visual. And then a year later, it came on the market, and I bought the house because my financial situation had changed.
How everything is. Everything's that way.
Yep. That exact house. All right, so first question is silly and quick. It is, so if I have many inspirations and I need to have inspired action, but I'm choosing which one to focus on. I have many invention ideas, but
now wait for
life
a moment.
gets in the way.
We're going to hear you fully.
Yep.
But we want to put a picture in your mind of what we mean by inspiration. I have many inspirations. When you are the vibrational equivalent of your vortex, then what's in the vortex moves seamlessly into your mind, into your awareness, into your observable, noticeable awareness. When you're in that state, it's a state of being, and the awarenesses become rich and full and many at the same time. What you just said sounded more like if I have many desires. So we're asking for that clarification.
I have many creative thoughts, and if I spend enough time focusing in a direction, I know I'll accomplish.
So we just want to establish something here. When the creative thought is active, when you're aware of it, the question is, am I under the influence of my connection with my inner being, or am I under the influence of needing something to be better?
A little bit of both, yeah.
You just want to have awareness of that, because when you have practiced satisfaction and you've meditated and you've learned to hold yourself pretty consistently in that place of feeling good, then what happens is it's just moment after moment after moment after moment that just delivers and delivers and delivers. Sometimes it delivers a new idea, an inspiration. Sometimes it delivers awareness of something that's right in front of you that you might not have noticed otherwise. Sometimes it delivers a person who speaks words that you feel true resonance with. Sometimes it delivers a seeing of a house on a street that catches your attention and really rings your bells. Sometimes it delivers awareness of something that you can't afford right now, but it delivered it, and if you didn't go to I can't afford it, then you stayed in alignment with it, you see? And sometimes it delivers the opportunity to purchase it, bam, into full manifestation.
Okay, all right. And if one, it's like I have many ideas for different kinds of inventions. I have a creative mind. And so if I'm going to pursue one project, but there's many to choose from.
Here's the thing. You're really going to like this. If the thought is coming to you because you're in the receiving mode, if the thought that your inner being is offering is received by you, then there's no question in that situation on your part that you are going to pursue it, because it's got the momentum of source energy flowing. It feels like such an idea that you couldn't possibly not move in the direction of it. But what you're talking about the distinction. This matters so much. This is really a good question of, do I pursue it just by letting it waft across my mind? Do I pursue it by deliberately thinking some thoughts like it? Do I pursue it by taking action? And we want you to feel the difference between the momentum of no resistance and the momentum of passion. And so you'll get so that you can feel whether action is required right now or whether it's just something more to think about. And it's always, no matter where it comes from, it's always, hear this, it's always something more to think about, because the more you think about it, the more your guidance system will let you know what influence you're under while you're thinking about it. Let's say an idea comes and you're not sure. So you let yourself think about it. And the more you think about it, the more uncomfortable it becomes. So it turns out it's not the best idea. Sometimes others influence you to something. Esther, she has a sort of a snow house in another state, and she thought about going there for Christmas, but all the people that she wanted to be with wanted to be in other climates. And so she thought, okay, well, we'll just do other things. And then the more she thought about it, the more she thought, well, I'd like to be there. I'm going to put the lights in the trees, and I'd like to be there. So she let that momentum go a little, and she took pleasure in the thought. The lights will have the trees in them, and the snow will be on the ground, It's just a nice place to be. So she let her mind follow that path. It felt really good to her. So now she's on the cruise ship, the Greek cruise they just were on, with some of the friends and some of the family that she had thought might want to join her there. And she didn't bring it up, but one of them did, and they kind of decided that that's what they should do. So Esther said, yay. So now she was just softly thinking the thoughts, and they seemed to be on board. And then the cruise continued, and she got home, and she focused upon the things that she's doing, and she thought about Christmas, and she thought about Thanksgiving, and she thought about different things. And now when she's thinking about it, it didn't seem like such a good idea. It felt like something that she had sort of talked herself into and had sort of talked them into. And the more she thought about it, the less good it felt. You find yourself in these places quite often. Should I or shouldn't I? Should I or shouldn't I? So the only thing to do is keep thinking about it until what you really are feeling about it comes to the surface where you can really see it. And so then she thought about the other things she would do instead of that. Oh, she felt energy move on that. And then she thought about that. She felt more energy move on that. And then she thought about that. And then she felt more move. And then she went back to try to think about that. Couldn't get there at all. Just show yourself. What you're showing yourself, really, we like this so much. What you're actually showing yourself is, you ready for this?
Yes.
You're showing yourself what you are the most cooperative component toward. And when you're on this satisfied and up side of the equation, there are lots of creative, wonderful choices, but they are not all equal in their path of least resistance. Some of them are ready to pop right now and inspire you into action. Some of them are just ready for you to follow the thought thread of and thrill yourself. Some of them are just that delicious thought that you can lie in bed at night and think about while you drift off to sleep. Some of them are just those nice things that you want to collect a little more data about and talk to other people about. And the difference between the softer ones and the ones that will move you to action is momentum. Well, suddenly Esther realized she had enough action in that period of time. It wasn't that she doesn't love being with all of those people. It's just that it was going to require more action than was really comfortable to her. Are you hearing what we're saying? You get to steer your vehicle in the direction you want it to go. You also get to decide how much fuel you give the engine and how fast you want it to go. And so from our point of view, because we believe in ease and flow, we want you to let the law of attraction and the universe be the engine in all things. We don't want you to believe that your action is what makes it happen. It's not your action that makes it happen. It's your allowing that makes it happen. So it wasn't that doing that trip was going to cause Esther to need to do more action than she was comfortable with. It's that her belief that it would require more action. Got to get out there 2 days early. Got to go to the store. Got to buy all that food. Got to make sure that everything's ready. It wasn't that she couldn't have done that with ease. It was that there was resistance for Esther on that path. Therefore, that was not the path of least resistance. And we're just going to say this. We want you so much to hear it. Your path of least resistance is always the best path. Did you hear it? Your path of least resistance is always your best path. But think about who you've trained yourself to be. Most of you don't really believe that. You believe the path of most virtue is the best path. The path that makes me look the most important is the best path. The path that serves the most people is the best path. The path of least resistance is the best path. And why is that? Because your inner being heard you. Your inner being knows what you want. Your inner being has carved that out. And when you catch a whiff of what that path is, now you've got movement, you've got energy, you've got cooperative components surrounding you, you've got fun, you've got living happily ever after, you've got satisfaction. Did that make sense to you? That was really refining. That was a very fine point to a deliberate creator, which you are.
So we have time for one more?
Yes.
Okay, I'm interested in how something dovetails. So the law of attraction and sort of Well, I'm a holistic chiropractor, and I help people optimize their health. I don't just adjust them, I do a bunch of other things. And so...
Let's just stop here. You are, through your adjustments, offering an analogy to what we're talking about that your inner being does.
Aligning, yes.
You're just opening that path for them so that the energy can flow a little better. We would rather they figured out how to do it on their own than bone cracking.
Yes.
But it's the same idea. Do you follow?
Yeah. So, but one of the techniques that I do, I use energy testing to target nutrition to balance their metabolism and oftentimes their neurochemistry. And so when their neurochemistry improves, you can take a very skittish, nervous somebody who could never achieve an alpha state in a meditative state if they tried for 10 years. With targeted
be careful
nutrition,
with those kinds of statements.
Okay. But
because that isn't true or even close to true.
Right, but somebody who could be having trouble with that could take a big giant shortcut if they just tweaked the vibration of their food or their nutrition. So I always feel like that's a missing puzzle.
But here's the thing.
Piece.
But what you're talking about in both the chiropractic movement and even the nutrition, you're talking about them finding a behavior or an action that then is evidence of energy flowing. And if you'll just flip that on its head a little bit and think in terms of the energy flowing, which then inspires the behavior, not a behavior that then fits, but following a path that leads to the behavior. When you get into alignment, you'll find all of that. And the reason you can find it is because you're in alignment. And the reason that you can find it for others is because you're in alignment. That the bridge you want to make with them is the alignment and then.
Yes, okay. Well, and my frustration piece comes in when the national conversation with, the violence and the things that does happen isn't in part, at least, because there's many factors, that the vibration of our food is just very poor for the general population. And so... Yeah.
We know for sure that there are things that your body would benefit more from. And we know for sure that depending on where you are, sometimes, for example, we really want you to hear this. When you are tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and really feeling energetically connected, and you're starting to receive impulses to act, some of your cravings are part of that impulse. And those cravings, because you're wide open, are beneficial. But if you were not wide open and you followed a biological craving, it would be like flooding your carburetor. There aren't even carburetors in your cars anymore, but it would be like giving too much fuel to the engine that isn't burning it. And so to call any substance always bad is not a good idea. We're with you, and we don't mean to make you defensive. We really are on your side. It's really wonderful work that you're doing. But the alignment then inspires the behavior. This is the bottom line of what we're really wanting to say. You just can't sort through the piles of people and experiences in life and come to a whole bunch of conclusions about what's the right or wrong thing to eat and always be right, because everybody's different. But you want to think about why they're different. They're different moment to moment because they are energetically different moment to moment, not just because they're different biologically or genetically created. That's some of it too, but it's more about the energy that's flowing through them in the moment that inspires the craving. Being tuned into your inner being will inspire you to eat things that lots of nutritionists will tell you should not eat. And when you are depressed, you'll be under the influence of inspiration that your body will show you were better off if you hadn't eaten it. It's almost like self-perpetuating misery in an action way. But you just can't take behaviors or substances or foods or experiences and put them in categories of good or bad or even best, better, and bestest. You just can't do that because it's dependent upon what you're doing vibrationally in the moment.
Got it. Great. Thank you.
Really good.
Thank you.
Really good.